Hi there, friend, and welcome to my channel. My name is Marissa, and I'm 42 going on 80 years old. At least, that's how I've been feeling after I injured my back a few weeks ago. All jokes aside, if you're watching this, chances are you know that feeling of wanting a tidy space, but also feeling too drained or overwhelmed by the thought of doing what it takes to get there. Maybe you've been sick, or you're dealing with pain, or maybe you're just feeling down or unmotivated. If any of that sounds like you, the first thing I want you to do is let go of any guilt you've been feeling about your messy home. And the second thing I want you to do is get up and go grab some trash bags and boxes so that you can declutter and tidy along with me today. Remember, the goal here isn't perfection, because it's like the saying goes, on those days you only have 40% to give and you put in that 40%, you actually gave 100% when you did that. One thing I know for sure is that when our homes and lives get messy, a little bit of order can bring us a whole lot of peace. So in today's video, I want to take you along with me as we tidy up my messy home. And along the way, I'm also going to be sharing some gentle, no pressure strategies and tips to help you declutter and organize your way to a home that's less stressful and easier to manage as well. Let's dive in. Well, I think I picked the darkest, rainiest, most depressing day to make this video, which I guess goes perfect with the theme because that's about how I'm feeling right now. And the last thing that I want to do is be productive and get things done. And yet, I know that's exactly what I need to do because I've been doing the absolute bare minimum for about 3 weeks now since I injured my back. And after going to the doctor and doing some heat pads and, just resting, I'm starting to feel a lot better. And so even though I don't want to do things, I know I need to do things. And so, what I want to do first is take this basket of dirty laundry down to our laundry room and get it into the washer so that by the time I'm done with the tidying up projects that I want to tackle in this video, hopefully the laundry will be done and we can get it folded and put away together. Also, while I'm getting the laundry done, I just want to point out that I'm also going to be ignoring some other projects that maybe aren't so pressing and that aren't so urgent and necessary for me to address in my house, like this box of pillows that I've been meaning to find covers for and turn into throw pillows for our couch. That box is sitting there reminding me of yet another project that I need to tackle, but for right now, I'm just going to ignore it and I'm going to focus on doing what I absolutely need to get done. And right now, that is the laundry. And if you're like me and your head starts spinning and all of these things that you have to get done start whirling around in your mind, and you tend to end up completely stressed out and overwhelmed and don't know how to start or where to start or how to move forward, one of my favorite things to do in times like that is to sit down with a notes app on my phone or a piece of paper and a pen and write out all of the things that I really need to get done that day and just create kind of a priorities list so that I know what I need to focus on and that way I can ignore all the rest. So, in rough chronological order, here are all of the things that I'm going to be working on getting done today. Whenever I'm stuck in a rut or I'm feeling low on motivation, I like to take the time to make the bed in the morning. And I find that that often helps me kind of jumpstart my motivation and get things going. Because over the years, I've built a lot of habits and routines around that keystone habit right there in the morning of making the bed. And I guess it just kind of engages that muscle memory that you have, where even though you don't want to do something, you start doing something because you're already moving and you have that momentum. So, this is one of my favorite habits for building momentum on those mornings where I don't really feel like it and don't really want to get things done. Now see, doesn't that already feel so much better? Just to see a nice, tidy bed. I know it makes me feel better. After making the bed, I decided that I was going to wash my face and at least get my hair up in a nice tight bun and put a little makeup on so that I could feel a little bit more put together when I headed to make the rest of this video. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to my front entryway where things have just gotten a little bit out of control. And I'm going to explain where all of these Amazon boxes came from in just a second because I want you to also be on the lookout for scams like this. But before we do that, I want to go over the shoe declutter that we did the other day and the system that we use to go through our kids' shoes and decide what to keep and what to get rid of. Okay, so here we have lined up all of the shoes that both of my boys have. So Gugus is the top row and he has 2, 4, 6. And Didi has the bottom row and he has 2, 4, 5. We're going to start by going through Didi's shoes first and getting rid of the ones that no longer fit him or are too worn out. And then we're going to see if anything from Gugus' side can be passed down to Didi if it's in good enough condition. And then we're gonna have to go shoe shopping to fill in the gaps. So for example, these shoes look pretty nice on the outside and we were thinking to pass them on to Didi, but I know that inside, if you look here, it's gotten so worn out that the inside is like poking the heel when you wear them. So these definitely need to be gotten rid of. So like I said, whenever we're decluttering shoes or clothes, I always start with my youngest son because when he identifies something that he no longer wants and we need to get rid of, that means that I know those things are actually going to be leaving the house versus decluttering with Big Brother. And when he decides that he no longer wants shoes or clothes, there's always the potential that they could be passed on to Didi, depending on whether Didi wants them or not. Okay, so here are the shoes that we are keeping. And then over here are the shoes that we're getting rid of, either because they're damaged or they're too small. And my husband also threw in a pair of his own shoes to get rid of. So after that, we went to DSW and I donated a couple pairs of shoes to earn some points towards purchasing new shoes. And we looked around and both of the boys got a pair of new and lighter summer shoes because they were complaining that the high top sneakers that they had and the shoes that they had currently were too hot for their feet. And while we were there, my husband also got himself a new pair of shoes as well. And I talked about that and how much I spent in last week's episode of the Low Buy Diaries, so I will be sure to link that up here in the right-hand corner in case you're interested in checking that video out. So heading back to the front entryway, I want to break down these boxes with you and go through some of the things that have piled up in here. And I realized at this point that I had forgotten to bring a trash bag with me, so I had to get up and go get that. I like to use a black trash bag when I'm doing sorting like this, and I'm actually putting trash and recycling both in that same black trash bag, and then I'll just go through it later when I'm closer to the trash can to actually sort it into proper trash and recycling. So as you can see here, I still have the empty boxes from when we went shoe shopping for the boys, and I do like to keep shoe boxes for at least a week just to make sure that the shoes are good quality, that they're not going to make my kids' feet hurt or bleed, because I've had way too many experiences with shoes that I've purchased myself only to get them home and try wearing them and find out that they were absolutely torture to put on my feet. And over time, this habit has helped us save money, reduce buyer's remorse, and also reduce the likelihood that we're going to have things sitting around our house that we feel guilty about because we don't like using or wearing them. I also kept the box for the heating pad that I got for my back pain, which has been an absolute lifesaver. And I picked that one because it has the ability to not only use as a hot pack, but also a cold pack if you put it in the freezer. So I'm definitely going to be holding on to that in the future just in case I hurt myself again. And speaking of back pain and just pain in general, if you struggle with chronic pain or you have low mobility, it's probably not a good idea to be down on the ground decluttering like I am. Obviously, my back has recovered to the point where I'm able to do this. And instead, what you could do is use a nice stable chair or a low stool that enables you to reach the things that you need to reach without having to get down on the ground to access them. And then to move things around your home, you might find it helpful to have a rolling cart or some kind of wheeled device that lets you move things easily from one room to another. Okay, so one of the reasons that we have so many packages and Amazon boxes and products up here in our front entryway is because we were recently victims of what's called a brushing scam on Amazon. And if you've never heard of a brushing scam, here is a little bit more about it and why someone might want to engage in a brushing scam. And this is something that I'd never heard of until it happened to us. So let me go through and show you exactly what the scammers sent to us from Amazon as part of that brushing scheme. So the one of the things that we got is some adult hearing aids. So these are for older people who are losing their hearing. And then another thing that we got was this ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. I'm gonna try not to show off the brand so that I don't give them any free publicity. I think that you guys would be smarter than that, but just saying. And then there's this extremely questionable photon beauty mask that doesn't even have a brand on it. And supposedly it uses 3 different color lights with infrared therapy on your face. But this is such questionable quality that I'm afraid to even donate it because I don't know if it's safe for people's skin. So this might potentially be going in the trash. And then we also had this, it said that it was a cervical pillow, but my husband and I can't really figure out what it's a cervical pillow for. Cervical would be like up here. So we're not sure if it's for a chair or for your car or what, but we're certainly not going to use it. It's not something that we were looking for. We don't need it. So we're going to probably donate this. And then other than these items that I just showed you, we also had probably 10 other items that got delivered to us over a period of several days. When we kept getting packages, what I would do is I just started taking these packages and chasing the delivery man down the street. And I just kept telling him that this is not our stuff. This is addressed to a name of a person that has never lived here at any point in time. And I gave it back to them and they said they'd take care of it, but then we kept getting packages. So then at that point, I had to get on my computer and chat up Amazon and let them know. And then I think we did get 2 packages after that, but then it has since stopped. So fingers crossed that's taken care of and we don't get any more of this crappy stuff because it's pretty much just junk that I have to either donate or toss. So I also have this bag with 2 pairs of shoes for donation. And the reason that I still have these shoes, even though we went to DSW and bought the boys some new shoes, is because the man at the counter advised me that if we had several pairs of shoes to donate, we could actually split up our donation and that way we would earn more points across multiple weeks. So I wanted to be able to earn as much points as possible for that without spending too much time driving back and forth. Okay, so now that we've gone through all of the boxes, I just want to quickly go through this closet and tidy things up a little bit, put things back into order, and also go through some of the winter stuff that's in these white bins down here and see if there's anything that we can get rid of in this area. I did recently do a video on how to organize your home to function better, where I talked about the systems that I use for our entryway shoe and coat storage. So be sure and go check out that video if you want a little bit more detailed help with that. So as I'm going through these bins, I'm looking for things that are too worn out or that my kids have outgrown or that they just plain don't want to wear, which is kind of the case with this sun hat that I just pulled out right here because not only has it gotten a bit small for Didi, but he also feels too embarrassed to wear it. He says that it's too goofy looking. And I think this is an important point, which is that we can buy things with all of the best intentions in the world, But if those things don't quite work out the way that we wanted them to, or they just don't get used for whatever reason, there's no point in keeping them because at the end of the day, everything can be useful, but nothing is useful if you don't actually use it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this sun hat. So what I did here is that now that we're headed into warmer weather, I tried to put the more winter stuff on this side. So like the gloves and the winter hats. And I tried to put the more cool slash warmer weather stuff over here. So I do still need my scarf. So I'm going to put it on that side. And then we have the more baseball caps and sun protection kind of hats in this bin. So I'm going to switch the position in the closet so that they can get to this easier, but we'll still keep this in the same place because we just don't have that much stuff that we need to put it away when it's not the correct season. And then we had this mat out here next to the doorway for our boots and shoes when we were coming in from the cold and the snow and the wet. But now that that weather is over, I think I'm going to move this to the garage. These also need to go in the garage. They're gardening gloves. And then I'm going to bring the basket of sports equipment upstairs now that it's going to be good weather and they're going to be playing outside more. Hey there, I just wanted to jump in here a minute and point out that it is so easy for clutter and mess to pile up, especially when life gets busy or overwhelming, or things happen that are completely outside of your control. But here's the truth. You're not lazy and you're definitely not alone in struggling with this. You just need a system that actually works. The other day, I read a survey that found that only 10% of people say their home is always clean and tidy, which might make the other 90% think they're doing something wrong. But as someone who used to belong to the 90% who struggled with nonstop clutter and mess, I'm here to tell you that if you have a messy home, it is not your fault. Because despite what society tells us, cleaning and tidying up are not intuitive, and most of us were never taught the essential life skills it takes to maintain a clean and clutter-free home. I've spent almost a decade mastering the art of decluttering and teaching thousands of people all around the world how to do the same, and I've witnessed firsthand just how life-changing a clutter-free home can be. So if you want to declutter your home but you struggle to get started or stay motivated or know what to do with your clutter when you're done, I wanted to let you know that my 5-star rated decluttering course, Clutter GPS, is on sale right now just in time for spring cleaning. And rest assured, this isn't just another cleaning challenge or checklist. Clutter GPS is a step-by-step masterclass in decluttering designed to guide you through tidying up every square inch of your home and how to create simple systems that will keep it that way for good. And another thing that makes Clutter GPS totally unique is that it can actually pay for itself. Not only are there tips on where to get rid of clutter, but there's even a bonus mini course that will teach you how to sell your clutter for top dollar, which is a game changer in this economy. We're talking about hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars just sitting around your home taking up space. Plus, you'll get a full bundle of money-saving printables such as no-spend challenges, budget planners, spending trackers, and more. Normally, this course is $397, but right now for a limited time, you can get it for only $147, and with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's zero risk. And if you want to find out more about Clutter GPS and read the incredible student results and see their before and after transformations, be sure and click the link down in the description box or pinned comment below to start your journey to a calmer and cleaner home. Because you deserve a clutter-free home and a life you love, and this is the roadmap that's going to get you there. Now, let's get back to decluttering. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to tackle some decluttering and organizing projects in the kitchen. But before we do that, I just want to take care of these dirty dishes that have gotten piled up after breakfast and lunch taken care of, just to give me back some mental peace while I'm going through some of the cabinets and drawers in this kitchen. Now, I typically advise people not to tackle cleaning projects while they're trying to do decluttering and organizing projects at the same time. However, when I see a sink full of dirty dishes, I just can't handle it, especially if I'm decluttering in the kitchen. So I just really want to get these off of the countertop so that I can start pulling things out of the cabinets and the drawers. And that way, I'm not getting mixed up between what's dirty and what I want to keep and what's clean but needs to be gotten rid of. So let's just knock this out really quick. Oh, and by the way, I did start feeling a little bit cold, so I went ahead and changed my shirt to put on my fuzzy lined sweater instead. Sometimes you've just got to do what it takes to keep yourself motivated to declutter, and if that means putting on more comfortable clothes, I say go for it. Okay, so now that we've gotten that taken care of, what I want to do is go through some of the cabinets and the drawers in the kitchen, and then our little area over here towards the side where some stuff has piled up. So let's tackle this cabinet first. Okay, so one thing that I always say when you're decluttering your kitchen or anywhere else really is when you have things like gadgets or appliances or maybe sets that have different parts and you find that you use one part all the time, but then the other part doesn't get used that frequently, it's okay to get rid of the one part that you don't use. Case in point, in this cabinet, we have this. Let me close this. So we have this that is like an individual single cup coffee maker that sits on top of the cup and then the coffee drains into. And then this is originally supposed to be the water that you pour it into and then it drips into this. But my husband uses this to make coffee every single morning, but he has never ever used this piece a single time because actually he uses a larger filter on top and then he makes enough for the two of us. Therefore, it's just too constrictive to have this part on top of this. So he just leaves this open. And then this part has never gotten used. And we've had this, I think, for almost a year. So I'm going to go ahead and donate this piece just in case anyone else is looking for something like this. I think this could also be fun as like a little bathtub toy for kids who are smaller. You know, you can fill it with water and let them drip it. But my kids are too big for that kind of toy anyway. They used to love playing with like empty ketchup bottles or shampoo bottles in the bathtub and just using them to squirt each other. But we're past that point now. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. And one thing that I wanted to mention that's also in this cabinet is the previous coffee maker that we had been using, but that my husband didn't like, which is this Kim X coffee maker. And I just want to give a big shout out to those of you who commented that I should upcycle this into a vase, because now we've got some little flowers coming in our yard, like daffodils and lily of the valley, which is my absolute favorite flower. And I'm 99.9% sure that I'm going to use this as a nice little vase on our table when we get fresh flowers in our yard. I'm super excited about it. I've never had a yard with flowers before, so stay tuned for that. Oh, and of course, we will use this when we have guests or family over and we need to make larger amounts of coffee at a time. But for daily use, for just my husband and myself, we don't need something like this, and this is enough. Whenever I'm doing a kitchen declutter, I always have to double check and make sure that I haven't started hoarding too many leftover jars and containers, because I'm someone who can collect these items very, very easily. For some reason, I just love keeping them around in case I need them for leftovers or leftover condiments or whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of these 4 small glasses. I don't even remember what they were for, but they've kind of just been sitting around in here, and we already have small and large glasses and plenty of lidded containers that I can use for leftovers, so we don't need those. And then I'm just going through and I'm checking the other cabinets and drawers to see if there's anything inside of them that I might also want to get rid of. I did find this tea strainer inside of the drawer, and this is something I mentioned in a previous video, which was a disappointing buy because we were trying to switch over from drinking bagged tea to loose leaf tea, and I bought two, but one of them broke right away, almost immediately after purchasing it, and we've already replaced it with an in-cup tea strainer, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of both of these. Okay, so what we have here are basically two things that we don't need anymore because we switched out the faucet that's next to the sink for a faucet that came with our water filtration system that my husband put in at the end of last year. And when we took this off, we were shocked to see how corroded it was on the inside because at first I was thinking, oh, maybe I could donate this. But then when I saw the inside of it, which I'm not sure if you can see very clearly, it's just not in good enough condition to donate. So I'm gonna get rid of this. And then now that we have that filtration system, we also don't need this Brita water pitcher anymore. We've had one of these for many, many years, both here and our home back in Germany. But now that we have a better water filtration system built into our sink, we no longer need this. Okay, so here we have everything that we're getting rid of in the kitchen, and it might not seem like a lot, but just keep in mind that when it comes to maintaining a clutter-free and minimalist kitchen, every little bit of clutter that you get rid of makes a huge, huge difference when it all adds up. Okay, so the next area that I want to tackle is this family command center behind me. And just like any flat surface, this family command center can kind of get stuff piled up on and around it, on the countertops and this ledge that we have right here. Especially if we get lazy or get out of the habit of not putting things away in their proper place and just laying them down there, it can tend to get really messy really fast. So I want to go through this area, and I've got a little basket lid that I'm going to use for rehoming items that don't belong. And then I think we also have some things that we can get rid of in that area. So right off the bat, I find my son's wearable blanket that needs to be taken up to his room. And then we also have this box with our new DVD player that we ordered because we canceled our Netflix subscription last month. And so what I did was order a DVD player so that we could rent DVDs from the library and save money that way. And then my son also was playing Ninja the other day. So this is his Naruto headband that is from his Halloween costume that he left down here. So I'm going to take that upstairs as well. My friend Christina from the YouTube channel Christina Mijas sent this to me, and I've been so excited to check it out, but I literally haven't had time to even open it yet. So I feel like a terrible person, but we're definitely going to get to that. I'm going to go take it to my desk, in fact, so that I have it more visible and not just laying around. I remember to look at it. So, and big congratulations to her for publishing her own book. That's amazing. So I'm going to go and take these items back to their proper place really quick. And then once I get back, we're going to go through the rest of the items that have collected on the countertops and then go through the paper clutter here as well. So this was the printable that I completed for February's No Spin Challenge, and I just was kind of keeping it around in case I needed to get some extra B-roll shots of it. But I think we're done with this, and I've gotten plenty of videos and pictures, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this, and I'm going to reclaim the clipboard and put that back in our office supply area. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is sit down and I'm going to go through some of the paper clutter that's collected in this area. And I think that paper clutter is probably my absolute least favorite kind of clutter to deal with, which is probably exactly why I've let it pile up here for so long. And I find that when I need to tackle a big, overwhelming pile of paper clutter, it's really helpful for me to turn on some upbeat and energetic music and just try to power through it with some kind of feel good vibes, or maybe turn on an audiobook that I've been excited to listen to, or a YouTube channel that doesn't really require your, focused attention and that you can have playing in the background. And that's exactly what I'm doing as I tackle this pile of papers and artwork from my kids. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is shuffle around the storage and organization products that I have on the countertops and inside this drawer just a tad, because now that we've lived here for a little over 6 months now, we moved into this home about mid-September of last year, and I've kind of seen how this area is working for us. Now I have a better idea of how to organize it. So I'm moving some of the items off of the countertops and into the drawers because we have ample storage there. And aside from clearing out some empty pins and a little bit of trash, the one thing that I want to relocate from this area are these pencils, because these don't belong in this drawer. We actually have a designated spot for our pencils, and that's inside a small white lidded bin that we keep on the sideboard that's next to our dining room table, because the dining room table is where we do homework together. And underneath that sideboard is also where my kids keep their backpacks. So it just makes the most amount of sense for the pencils to be there. Not only was I able to get rid of all of the stuff that had piled up over in that corner, but we also got the ledge completely cleared off. And I got a lot of the stuff that was previously sitting in this area put away, either trashed, recycled, or even put away in this drawer. And I still feel like I'm trying to figure out my paper organizing system for this house. Like, I'm not saying that this and this is going to be the final product, but I'm saying we're getting a lot closer to where it needs to be. Hi there. I have a confession to make. It is the middle of April, and I still have my Christmas tree up in our living room.
So the next time you feel like a hot mess, just remember this moment.
And you know what? Honestly, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. 100% would do it again, because the winters here where we live in the suburbs of Chicago are so cold and so dark. And sometimes you just need a little pick me up during those long, dark, cold winters. And anytime that I found myself feeling a little bit down or sad or low, I could just come and sit out here and look at my Christmas tree, turn on the lights, maybe add the little twinkling effect if I needed a even more of a boost of excitement. And that did wonders for my mental health over the winter. I am not even kidding. You know what they say, a Christmas tree a day keeps the seasonal depression away. At least it should be a saying. My husband has been wanting to put the Christmas tree away since before Valentine's Day, so he was pretty ecstatic to hear that I was finally ready. So he went down into our crawl space and got out the Christmas tree box, and we started breaking down the tree together. In true minimalist fashion, I didn't even buy a Christmas tree skirt last year. I just used a table runner that didn't quite fit so well on our table as a Christmas tree skirt. So first thing, I pulled that out and folded it to put away, and then we got to breaking down the Christmas tree, which honestly was a lot harder than expected. We couldn't remember how we put the Christmas tree together for the life of us and if it had some kind of button or latch or something to help get it apart. So I had to pull out my phone's flashlight so that we could see in there and try to get the darn thing apart. And I made sure to try to use proper lifting form while we were picking up and taking the Christmas tree downstairs. I helped my husband get it downstairs and then he finished taking it all the way, the rest of the way under the stairs into the crawl space that we have. There's not a whole lot down there, but at least we have space for the Christmas tree. And then the last space that I wanted to tackle with you today is my home office, where some trash has just kind of accumulated in this rolling cart that I use for storage and on my desk here. So let's go through some of these things and see if there's anything we can get rid of. So this little bamboo card holder actually came with my desk that I got for my home office when we moved into here. And I kept this in my little cart thinking that maybe I could find a use for it. At first I was thinking, well, maybe I could use it to hold my phone or something when I need to look at recipes. But when I do that, I just prop it up against the wall, or it actually has a little stand on it. So I don't need to use this. And so I'm gonna go ahead and donate this. Maybe someone else can find a use for it. Okay, so this box that I found in my cart is full of little gold clips that are used to clip things onto this metallic wall grid that I have and that I'm using as a vision board behind me. And originally I was kind of at a loss as to what I should do with these clips. And I was thinking, well, maybe I should put it in my crafting box. But then I decided that I'm just going to clip it to the outside edge of my vision board so that I have extras there, because I do like to clip things to my vision board over here in this area when I have certain things I want to remember, like upcoming events for my kids or doctor's appointments that I need orders for. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on there. Oh, and by the way, if you aren't already subscribed, here's your friendly reminder to do so. I put on my vision board that I want to hit 500,000 subscribers, and the last time that I did this, I went from 0 to 100,000 subscribers in just 1 year. So if you're interested in topics like decluttering, minimalism, simple living, and saving money, be sure and hit the subscribe button and turn on all notifications so that you don't miss out on my weekly tips and ideas to help you simplify your way to a home and a life you love. Okay, wow. I am honestly so proud right now because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get through everything today, especially after feeling so overwhelmed and behind. But I showed up, I went slow, I took care of myself and my space today, and little by little, it all came together. So if you're still in the middle of your mess or you're thinking about getting started, please hear this. You can do this too. You don't need to be full of energy or motivated or perfectly healthy. You just need a starting point, a little support, and permission to go slow. One of my favorite quotes that always helps me on hard days is one from Nelson Mandela, where he said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And on days like this, what felt impossible just a few hours ago now feels like a breath of fresh air and peace and clarity. And honestly, what made all of this so much easier today is the fact that we've simplified our home so much. After letting go of 90% of our stuff, even when life happens and things get messy, and it inevitably will, it's just so much faster and less overwhelming for me to reset everything back to a tidy and calm baseline. And that's something I want for you too. Not perfection, not a Pinterest perfect house, but a home that feels light and peaceful and supports you, especially on your hardest days. So if this video helped you even a little bit, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to cheer you on, and I'd love for you to be part of this community of women simplifying life and taking care of themselves with so much more grace. And remember, you got this. And if you're looking for more tips and ideas on your simplification journey, be sure and check out one of these videos that YouTube thinks that you'll like, or I'll see you next week. Until then, take care. Bye bye.